So I was recently sorting through my stuff and I found this box. And inside this box is all my old tour passes and laminates and sticky passes, festival wristbands, stuff like that I've been keeping a hold of. So I thought it'd be quite good to do a little side quest on this channel, a little mini-series where I just pick a few of these out and just go over anything from that tour that was interesting or fun, or like how I got that tour with that artist. So yeah, this is episode number 1 of Backstage Passes. So, welcome to episode 1 of Backstage Passes. Here's the box. Let's give it a good shuffle. Let's look away and let's pick out a random one. Go on. And this is wow, okay. This is the While She Sleeps Sleep Society tour. So, what can I say about this? First thing that springs to mind is this was the first tour back after COVID. I mean, COVID was still a thing at this point. This is September 2021, as you can maybe see on there. But this is While She Sleeps, supported by Loathe. They were really small venues. We were trying to come back. Was it an album release tour, I think? Yeah, because the album would come out during COVID. This must have been the first shows back. They were quite small venues. This is September 2021, we did Birmingham, Leicester, 2 nights in Bridgend, 3 nights in London, 1 night in Brighton, 3 nights in Leeds, 2 nights in Glasgow. And these are all like super small venues for the size of the band. In London, we did 3 nights at the Underworld. In Leeds, we did 3 nights at Key Club, which is tiny. And I remember this tour just being a nightmare because if you don't know, for While She Sleeps, I do front house and TM. And I just remember having to do COVID tests every single day just to make sure we weren't spreading it or passing it on to anyone. And a funny story about this is Sean, our guitar player, he, for some reason, whenever he takes a COVID test, a certain brand of them, like the main brand that they gave out, he'd always test positive. And he didn't have it. He'd test positive on the whatever it was, a nose swab test. And then he'd go in for the actual tests at the doctor's and it'd always come back negative. He never had it. And every single time the swab would come back positive, he'd have to go back. And I remember we'd done all our pre-pro and rehearsals and we were all ready to go. And we were about to set off and we thought, right, let's be safe on this tour. Let's set an example. Let's make sure we test every day. And, anyone that tests positive will have to just go away and isolate until they test negative again. And we did this as we were setting off to drive to Birmingham. So the first one. And we just got the last of the gear in the car and I went back into the office. Sean was just stood there looking at his test and he was just like, dude, it says I'm positive. So I'm just like, fuck, what do we do? So I have to take a step back from him and I'm just like, stay there. Went to the van that we were about to leave in the van. I'm just like, hey everyone, Sean has tested positive. What do we do? And then we kind of talked it through and we went through with a plan that he'd go and get the test. What was it? I can't remember what it was called. CPR test? CPR test? PCR? Let me Google it. PCR. COVID PCR test. So where you went to the hospital or the doctors and they do an official COVID test. It was a bit more in depth than just a no swab one. So yeah, he went off to do that and we decided we'd still go ahead with the show in Birmingham that night. So we started driving, got all the way down to Birmingham, and on the drive down there, I grabbed my laptop and I grabbed the recording of the last show we did, I think it was. Yes, I grabbed the recording of the latest show that we did and took Sean's playing live from the last live show that we did. So it was actually live playing and we managed to get it onto the Cymatic backing tracks at the time and just dedicate one channel to be his guitar. So it'd play back in time and it'd be his playing, it'd be live, but he wouldn't be on stage. So I spent the entire drive down doing that and then we started to sound check. I'd done a few of them. So we managed to sound check through a few of the songs with this backing track playing his part. And then for the rest of the night, I was just sat there doing the rest of the songs for the sex. It was, it was a headline show. Some of these were the first time we'd ever played these songs. So I had to take the recording that I'd just done. Luckily, I'd recorded multi-tracks from the pre-pro session. So all the new songs, I used those tracks. And then all the older songs, I used live ones that were from a show that were just a little bit more live feeling than the other ones. So we did that. And then the next day we went to Leicester and we did the same thing again and he wasn't there. Even though I think the next day is when the PCR test came back negative. So he then came to Leicester, I think, that night. He missed the show, but then we travelled to Bridgend the day after and he came with us. And I remember waking up in the hotel. He was there with us and he we tested again. We were doing the test every day, and it was still coming back positive for him. So we didn't know what to do. So he went to get another PCR test in Bridgend that morning, I believe. And started doing the same again, went and sound checked without everything. And, we didn't hear anything back if he was negative or positive until the show time, basically. So we were just about to change over. So Loathe had just finished, and I got a phone call from Sean saying, dude, just got my PCR test back. It's come back negative, so I can play the show. Should I come? And I was like, we've got 30 minutes before we're on stage. And he was like, yeah, okay, I'm on my way. So he jumps in an Uber from the hotel. I have to run back up to stage and just tell everyone, all the crew, I'm like, Sean's on his way, reset everything as if he's going to play live rather than go for the tracks. Let's load up the other playlist without him on it, and let's get him ready to go, get all his guitars tuned and stuff like that. So all the crew then just start working really hard to get all the guitars out, make sure they're all working, all the wireless packs and stuff like that. Because obviously we'd not checked them because we didn't think he was going to be there. So go through all of that and get everything ready. And I think we went on stage maybe 10 minutes late that show, but he came and did it. And then, for the rest of the tour, he just kept testing positive on these flow tests. But then every other day, we just make sure he went away and did like a proper PCR test. And every time it came back negative. But it was just a fun little tour, I guess. Not one of my favourites to tour manage. Very stressful. But yeah, that was the Sleep Society album release tour, September 2021. Okay, let's go for the next one. So let's give it a shuffle. Let's do this one. This big one here. What is this? Okay, another While She Sleeps one. This one a bit more recent. So this is a show pass from our show in Jakarta, which was last year, I believe. Yes, 2024. It was, nearly. It was exactly 1 year, 1 day. 7th of October 2024. As I film this, it is the 8th of October 2025. This was, just over a year ago. This is While She Sleep's first time in Jakarta in Indonesia. I've been there a few times with a few different bands, but this is the only time that Sleeps have been. Every so often, when we go over that part of the world, we'd always see people commenting saying, please come to Jakarta, please come to Jakarta. So we decided to go, see what all the fuss was about, and the show was great. This pass is quite hilarious. Look how big it is. For some reason, all the shows in Asia do like big passes like this for the shows. Like, I've got a few in here. This is another one. We'll talk about that one another time. There's another one there from a different band. Yeah, strange that they print these big ones off. So this is Jakarta Ecovention Hall, Ancol. And look at the back. It's got a picture of me on it and everything. Very official. It's While She Sleeps' first ever Indonesia show. There's a picture of me. This show. Wow. Okay. So we get there, and the promoter had done a great job. I'd sent them like the spec of our current like full A-rig from the festival shows, where we had like these big risers with the drums in the middle, walls of cabs in front of them, lots of lights around the stage, like steps up on the side, and they built it for us on stage. Like, they built us a full riser. They got everything that we'd asked for. The show looked great. They'd even got pyro for us. In fact, I've got a video of this show. Maybe I'll link that in a card up here somewhere if you want to check that out. But yeah, they did all that. I even asked for, we could maybe get like a thrust at the front of the stage, like a catwalk type thing. And they were like, yep, that's fine to do. So they did that for us, because I know the last time I did Indonesia with the Rose, when I'd asked for a thrust at the front, because that was part of that tour and part of that show, they just did it, no questions asked, and they built it for us. So I just thought I'd ask again on the off chance, and they did. And I just remember doing this show and starting it, and the energy was great. Like, the crowd were loving it. They were really hyped for the show. And we probably got maybe 4 songs into the set, and then all of a sudden, all power goes to everything. So front house goes down, everything on stage just turns off, goes off, all the lights, like full blackout, and everyone's just like, what's going on? So wait a few minutes to see what's happening. Nothing seems to be coming back on. Some of our crew come out on stage and just like shout over the crowd, just being like, hey guys, stand by. We're trying to work out what's going on. We'll try and get the show back up and running soon. And then I just run backstage to see what's going on. And turns out the generators just stopped, just overloaded, and basically it's just pulled all the power to everything. So they work on getting a second generator up and running. So it maybe takes like, 20 minutes, and we finally get some power back. We start turning everything back on. Some stuff's not working, so we have to like power cycle everything and try and get everything back up and running. And then we finally get it all like set. We quickly do a line check on some instruments to make sure the PA is working correctly. Everything seems to be good. After 20 minutes, we start again, we kick in, and we have to stop straight away again, because the drummer's IEM pack, or like the unit that he has like by him, that had like not turned back on when we'd done like a power cycle. It like fused and turned off again. So we have to stop and then start going again and be like, okay, get it working, get the show going. And then, the rest of the show was actually really good. I had a really good time. Everyone in like my front house world was really friendly. I've got a few friends in Jakarta that are always fun to see. So it was a great show. And hopefully we can come back again soon because I love Jakarta. It's a great place. So that was that show. Yeah, let's do one more. I think like 3 of these per episode probably. Let me know in the comments if you think 3 an episode is good. And let me know what you think of this series. If you think it's pretty fun, comment down below. All that engagement really helps. And then maybe we'll do a few more episodes. But let's do one more in this episode. So give it a shuffle again. And then let's go right underneath here. Let's try and get an old one. What's this? Well, these ones are all attached together. 1 second. Okay, this is the one I've picked. Let's see what it is. Maybe we should undo these. I think these are all like when I've done a year. Okay, this is 2 in 1. Okay, so this is Download Festival 2018. So this is Boston Manor on the main stage on Friday. And then on the other side, I've got the Dogtooth stage. And this is a pass from Shapes, which I'll explain this a little bit more after. So I'll do both of these. Quite an interesting story, this one. So there it is. So let's do both of these because it's quite a fun little weekend at Download. So this is Download at 2018. So on the Friday, I mixed Boston Manor and TM'd them as well. So I'd never worked with them before, and they were in the same management as Watch Sleeps at the time, and got a phone call saying Boston Manor playing the main stage. They want to take a sound engineer and a tour manager and just make sure it all goes well. And they were like, never used backing tracks before, but they've got this new track called Halo, which was just coming out. I don't think it's released yet at the point when I got the phone call. And they were like, it's got some like sim stuff in it, so they need to use a backing track to do that. So they came down and I like helped them play with backing tracks for the first time. We did a pre-pro day at Corporation in Sheffield. So shout out to Corp for letting me use the space. I made them a deal and just said, if we can come do pre-pro there, some of your interns that are doing the sound stuff at the time can come down and check out what's going on with a band doing pre-pro. So we did like a bit of a show and tell. It was pretty fun, but they came in and we got the band set up. We did some rehearsals and, they were pretty good at playing to the click track. We got the drummers all set up with a little mixer and things so he could play along to the click. I think it was just him that was on the click at the time. The rest of the band were just playing to wedges. And that all went well. And then we turned up at Download Festival and did a rocking show on the main stage. It was really good. I had a really good time mixing it. I think it was on an Avid profile at the time on the main stage. I had a really good show. I think they got a really good reception. They were like opening the main stage on the first day. So they had quite a big crowd. And, they did pretty well after this. They blew up. They're still doing great. Great bunch of guys. Had a real fun time mixing this show. And I did a couple more shows with them after this. Proud of the boys. This show was great. And I think this would have been my first time doing Download main stage. Maybe my only time. I don't think I've done it since. Not the main stage anyway. So cheers Boston Manor for being that one. And then that was a Friday. As you know, Download Festival is a 3-day weekend. So I then stayed at Download, camped in the artist area overnight. So we had a little camp area, set up there, woke up the next day, and I was at the Dogtooth stage. So this pass is with the band Shapes. So I mixed Shapes a few times. So Shapes are no longer a band, unfortunately. They broke up, but, great bunch of guys, and mixed them a few times on a few different tours and a few different shows. So this day on the Dogtooth stage, I mixed 3 different bands. There was like one band, the next band, then there was someone else playing, and then it was back to another band that I was mixing. So they're kind of all together. And it came about because Malevolence were playing, who I knew back from Sheffield, mixed them a few times. So, they asked me to do that. And then Shapes I'd mixed a few times on the same day. So they were like, let's do it. And then at the time, Shapes management was a guy called Ryan. And he had a new artist playing Download for the first time. And needed a sound engineer to look after him. And that band was called Sleep Token. So I turned up, I'd never met them, and I go backstage, and I think they were the second man. I think Shapes were first. So I set everything up for Shapes, done all the stuff for them, and then they did their show. And then I went backstage and found all the Sleep Token guys waiting there, and I had no idea what their setup was. I'd been sent like a rough tech spec, but there was stuff like, we need to get a keyboard on that I didn't know about. They were like, we brought this keyboard, this needs to go in. So quickly got getting everything set up for them, and they were like, we've got these 3 backing singers for the choir that wasn't on the spec that had been sent. So I was like, all right, okay, we need 3 more microphones, get all that set up, get everything line checked super quick. And I didn't really get to meet the guys properly. They were there, obviously, but they'd already got full makeup on and stuff. So I would speak to their techs, getting everything kind of where it needed to be, and did a show with them. And it was great. I thought I could tell from doing that show that they were going to be massive. So I stood with the manager at the time, Ryan, who's a very good friend of mine now. He plays drums in a band called Funeral for a Friend, who I've toured with as well. And yeah, I was just stood there going like, this guy's voice is amazing. Like the songwriting is really cool, something a bit different. So yeah, at that point, this was 2018, I mixed Sleep Token. I think maybe I might be wrong on this, but I think I'm the only other person to mix the band besides Tom Pike, who is main front of house. Shout out Tom. But yeah, I don't know why he couldn't do that show, but I was there, so I got to mix Sleep Token. And now, last year they headlined the festival on the main stage. So big up to them from going from the Dogtooth stage all the way up to the main stage headline. And then, yeah, like I said, after they played, went and packed down their stuff. Someone else then played, so I quickly got some food and a drink and then set up for Malevolence to run after and mix Malevolence. You know what they're like. Always a great, fun band to mix. Their show really kicked off that year. You could see it was starting to, grow for them. They're now as big as they've ever been. But at this point, they were just starting to kick off, and you could really see the energy in the tent. People come in that hadn't checked them out before, and they left being really big fans of the band. So it was quite a nice moment for me to mix them at that festival at that point, because I'd known them for years. They used to play as the local band in the venue that I worked at when I was first starting out. And every time they came through the venue, they were always the nicest guys, and the show was always amazing and crazy. So yeah, big up Malevolence for that show. I'll hopefully see them higher up on the bill at Download in a few years. I think they deserve it. But yeah, that was Download Festival 2018. Great little weekend. So yeah, if you found this interesting and you want some more of these episodes, let me know in the comments below. Interaction really helps. Comment, share, and yeah, see you in the next one. Peace.